Thomas Tuchel's reign as Chelsea manager is underway after a rather dull 0-0 draw with Wolves. With Frank Lampard sacking maybe disappointing but not surprising, we're going to talk through our thoughts on the move as well as Tuchel and the style he could bring to Chelsea. Welcome back to Over the Line Football. Don't forget to subscribe and let's get right into the video. I think there's only one place to start really, and that is the sacking of Frank Lampard. We spoke about it briefly on our podcast the other day when talking about the Chelsea result. So if you want to go and kind of see our pretty much immediate thoughts, because he was sacked literally pretty much while we were recording the podcast. So make sure you go and check that out. That's on the channel. That's the latest video. I'll leave a link in the description for that. We talked about the FA Cup and stuff. But with Lampard, what was your kind of initial thoughts on the sacking?
I would like to say I don't know. It's kind of hit or miss. I feel like he probably would get sacked, but I didn't think he'd get sacked like now. I thought he'd like maybe wait till the end of the season or something like that, because like we said about the Premier League those times, literally just get 3 wins in a row and you're up there straight away again. The Premier League, especially this season, anyway. So it kind of surprised me, the man they brought in as well, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I felt like it was a bit surprising personally. I mean, he had. I think he's more been taken away. He's been taken out of the job more because of the fact how much money he's spent. Like the money on Werner and Havertz, they haven't performed in the 4 months they've been there, and I think really if you're not get performances out of those big money players, then there's definitely a problem there. So I know he's been playing at least one youth player every single game. Frank Lampard has when he was in charge as well, so it's something to look out for possibly when Tuchel's in charge possibly. But I just think it isn't. I don't think it's really justified, but I can see it wasn't a surprise because after all we are talking about Roman Abramovich, who's like, was it? I've seen like 18 seasons, 18 different managers, something like that in theory. So
that's the way Chelsea operate.
Yeah.
I was, as I said in the kind of the intro, I was kind of disappointed but not surprised. I think we've seen with the 3 managers that have tried this model, Arsenal, United, and Chelsea. 2 of them have stuck by the manager in the tough rut that they've had, and they're sort of seen an upturn in performances. I mean, United, apart from last night, obviously, were top of the table, but they're still fighting up there. Yeah. They're going further in the FA Cup. The only thing that Ollie has kind of failed to do is progress in the Champions League. He got knocked out in the semi-finals of the League Cup, but that's minuscule compared to it. And Arsenal under Arteta is they could have sacked him very easily when he was 15th. But they stuck with him and they're kind of pushing up the table. And look, are they level on points with Chelsea? They must be very close to Chelsea.
I've just know their form's changed. I mean, we talk about like 3 points off the relegation, so 1 point with Arsenal. So
I know it's been a crazy season, but it's so easy. Like you said last week on the podcast, 2 results go their way in terms of top of the table. They're back in the top 4, let alone near the top of the table. So it's a bit of a crazy season. And I also think that Lampard got a lot of credit in the bank from me anyway, from last season when he got them into the Champions League with a transfer ban. Like using that, I know they've got a good youth setup, and I know they had good players already. And I know he had an easier job than other teams that would have had a transfer ban. But I think coming into Chelsea, which was always he's never going to say no, was he? He was never going to say no when he come from Derby. Coming in and with that transfer ban, getting them into the top 4 with a very competitive top 4 last season. You know, Tottenham were up there, Leicester, United. It was Leicester, United, and Chelsea for that 3rd and 4th, weren't they? They were competing for that right up until the last day.
The last day was it.
So they managed to qualify for top 4. They've qualified out of the group stage, so they've done okay there. I just think it was far too early. I understand performances aren't brilliant, as well as results, but in this season, I think you've got to break that mold sometimes. But then I thought, well, maybe they don't because it works for him. But do you think he kind of came into the job with a bit too much of a lack of experience?
No, I mean, first I said I could agree with you then. I think you started a bit too early. I said I would have given to the end of the season just to see what's going on with this season, and if the players haven't performed this season, then essentially just get rid of him then. But I don't think it's more the lack of experience. I think because he's such a club legend, like you said previously, you don't expect Vincent Kompany to stroll in for the Man City job when Guardiola goes, do you?
No.
So yeah, I do think if the fans were there at Chelsea, there'd been a completely different story. I think the fans would have got a lot more behind Lampard. Yeah. It'd been a lot different at the stadiums, like full stadiums, that kind of stuff.
I agree.
I think that's just unfortunately how it's gone. I think Derby got into players with a Derby side, which if you look now, are just above the relegation zone in the Championship. So That's 2 years. And the players they had on loan from Chelsea were Mount and Tomori.
He used the on loan players that he like you said, like Mount and Tomori well last season.
Mm-hmm.
He used them and he brought through a lot of. I mean, Tammy Abraham, we know of him in the Championship, but he's only started regularly being a Premier League like proven goal scorer last season, and that was under Lampard.
Yeah.
We spoke about it a couple of weeks ago. The thing that has finished Lampard has been this summer, spending so much money and not getting a tune out of any of the players. I mean, Ziyech had a promising start, then he got injured. Who else? Ziyech and Werner. Mendy's been okay. Chilwell's been okay. Thiago Silva's been okay, but none of them have really kind of. You look at some of the summer signings or the signings in the last year that other clubs have made and have kind of hit the ground running, like Bruno Fernandes, for example. Ruben Diaz at City, for example.
Even a Souček, for example.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So that has completely ruined him in this job. Mm-hmm. And Lampard obviously was determined to make it work. He obviously identified these signings as the ones that could take him to the next level. Abramovich has given him the money and backed him. And he's not turned out the performances that Abramovich wants, evidently. But we always talk about settling in periods, and I think that they weren't given enough time. These lads, you don't go from being one of Europe's top goal scorers to being absolutely rubbish overnight. It just doesn't happen. So I reckon they could have been given more time. Like Lampard could have been given more time, but Abramovich didn't seem kind of willing to wait at the end of the day.
No, listen, we all know there's 3 clubs in it. It's the Chelsea's, the Arsenal, well not the Arsenal, well Chelsea's, Man United, constantly recycle the managers.
Especially since Ferguson left.
Yeah. It's just more, they just want constant results now, and if they don't get it now, then that's just unfortunate. I think especially because of COVID as well, they just want results straight away, and if they don't get them straight away, then there needs to be a change. It's just it is a little bit annoying, but like I said, if fans were in the stadium, it could be completely different. So,
well, there was a few options. One of them was the man they got, Thomas Tuchel. There was a few others, Rafa Benitez maybe. He just left that club in
China.
China.
I'm not even going to try and pronounce the name.
The club in China. There wasn't really much else, was there? Especially Pochettino now in a job. He was kind of the one big manager that was maybe Allegri. But Tuchel was pretty much, as soon as the news about Lampard was coming out, it was Tuchel who was coming in. He'd just been let go by.
It was almost
PSG.
kind of instant as well, wasn't it? So as soon as you saw that Lampard literally went Tuchel's coming in.
Yeah, it was a move that had been put in place. I think it was when Chelsea had lost to Leicester. I think that was kind of the final. I think they'd been talking to Tuchel just in case, but I think the loss to Leicester in the league and the way Chelsea played in that game was the final straw for Abramovich, and he got the deal done in that week, but obviously he couldn't get it done in time for the FA Cup.
Yeah.
So Lampard took charge of the FA Cup, which I think is a bit snide, really. I think you look at his face on the sideline in that game. It's a face of a man who knew he was going to be sacked.
It was like the interviews you said in that. I think we said a couple of videos ago that he's snapping interviews now. He
knew he was off.
Yeah, it's like he's snapping interviews. He was a lot different than he was to the media than he was when he first got the job. Obviously, because he's a club legend and that kind of stuff there. But at the end of the day, what can you do? If you had a different club in the Premier League, you'd still get the job, because it's Chelsea. He's gone. And it doesn't matter if you're a club legend or not. Abramovich will just slit your wrists and take you out. So it's annoying. I want to talk about the man who's come in, Thomas Tuchel. We're going to briefly, I'll briefly talk about it if you want, I don't mind. Talk about what his experiences have been in the league he's been. So
yeah, he's kind of pedigree he's coming with.
Yeah, so his first, he managed Augsburg too. He's in the Austrian second division, but his first proper top European division team was Mainz. Mainz came up from when he started managing Mainz. Literally just got promoted to the Bundesliga. He came in for Jurgen Klopp, who incidentally left for Borussia Dortmund. So when he came to Europe and got 9th place in his first season, which, considering that's basically, for example, Fulham got Fulham 9th, for example, the Premier League, that kind of stuff. He then got 13th. Then they qualified for Europe. Fifth next season, my bad. Yeah. And then 13th season after that, and then the final season got 7th, and he qualified for Europe for them. So it was the first season in ages, and he got released. It's this kind of thing, probably with the board. So you might see a recurrence. He didn't like where the ball was going. He didn't see progress in the team anymore, so he just wanted to let go. A year later, he then went to Dortmund to replace Jurgen Klopp again, which yeah, we'll see. So main reason he was employed at Dortmund was, he got told basically on the interviews from the director of football, he got told he had a similar pressing style of football to Klopp, which you can see in the PSG days he's used it very well. So in his first season he lost in the DFLP Pokal final and lost to Liverpool in the Europa League quarter final. Obviously that Lovren late goal at Anfield.
Yeah, wow. I didn't even know he was in charge then.
So the next season he won the DFB Pokal, and then he was sacked 3 days after winning that because of the bad relationship with the board. So it mainly started. So the other Bartra incident where like a bomb was thrown at the bus and that kind of stuff. Tuchel just refused to play the game, and that kind of stuff went from there really. And so the board got sick of it and just got rid of him. And then another year later again, he replaced Unai Emery at PSG. Remember Unai Emery, Jesus. And yeah, he won every major in France, as I think anyone.
I think everyone does, yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest,
I think we forget this as well. He got Champions League runner up last season, which we can't forget.
Yeah,
that.
I was speaking about Chelsea with people. About Tuchel with people at Chelsea the other day, and he's just saying that a lot of people are kind of not writing him off, but sort of saying, well, I'm not worried about him coming in. And I get that he's not like when Tottenham got Mourinho, it was like, oh god, like they could. Yeah. And I still think he's a top coach, but he got PSG, and I know they spend millions upon billions of pounds, but it doesn't always work. I mean, look at City, right? City has spent millions upon millions of pounds. They've not reached a European Cup final.
I know.
PSG hadn't before last year. And I mean, in the final, we watched the final together, right, last year, and they lost to a cross that was headed in by Gnabry, right?
No, it was Kingsley Coman.
Kingsley Coman. But it was a cross in. It was a cross might have been from Gnabry.
I think it was a cross and it's come out, and then I think Coman hit it. I never remember quite. But Coman definitely scored in the
Yeah, but it was such a Route 1 goal. It wasn't like like Bayern Munich had battered Barca in previous rounds, and it was Lyon, I think, in the semi-final. But like Bayern, who had seemed inevitable to win, won by a scrappy goal. It wasn't like a beautiful flowing team move or they didn't batter PSG. Well, PSG had a few chances as well.
There wasn't many chances at all. It was like a really bad final.
Yeah, it was quite a poor final.
I think PSG probably edged Bayern in the chances.
Yeah, absolutely, especially near the end as well. So he's got pedigree. Maybe you can say that he had Neymar and Mbappe to work with. It's a bit different working now with Havertz and Werner, who haven't been scoring. So it's going to be a different challenge for him at Chelsea. What I think he's kind of willing to accept and take on, and I just with Tuchel, I just think that again it's just with Chelsea we'll be looking in 12 months when he's had one bad patch of results and he's going to be sacked again. And I think what happens is when some sort of European pedigree manager becomes available. So let's say, I don't know, say Simeone wins the league with Atletico Madrid this season and then goes, look, I've had a brilliant run at Atletico Madrid, I want to leave on a high. Does Chelsea turn that down? I don't think he does. So I think as soon as Tuchel will go on a bad run,
I think Tuchel's on an 18-month contract for one, so he's not here to end the season after he's there, technically.
So how long you reckon Tuchel's going to get then?
I think it will depend on what he does next season. I think this season now, they've not really reviewing it that much now. I think they just want to get him through the season and go from there.
Well, you said about the 18-month contract, didn't you? So I suppose it's just going to be done on a year-by-year basis. What do you reckon? What about the style? Because you talked about him, his pressing style at Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah, so he's known for his pressing football and is also a long ball football, which is basically what he tends to do. Is Borussia Dortmund especially had Royce, Aubameyang, and I can't remember who the right winger was. He played he played 4-3 there and PSG as well. So he played the long balls over the top all the time, but it's got everyone pressing all the time. So, but that was really it. Really, that's what he kind of plays. So hopefully, when he played 4-3, he had Cavani at the top, he had Di Maria and Mbappe at PSG. So I assume he's going to do similar here with Giroud as up to target man, and possibly play Pulisic, for example, and Hudson-Odoi on the wings. I'm just saying for examples, basically, for the two quick wingers and the target man. But that's what he likes to play. And then obviously when Cavani left PSG, he then played 4-2-2-2-2. You know what twos I mean anyway. So I think he played Mbappe, Di Maria, Neymar. He chucked up forwards when he could, basically. So very good to do that at Chelsea as well, because they got a lot of good forwards, Chelsea. So end of the day, he likes to play pressing football and long ball football as well. So you're going to see a lot of high lines from Chelsea, but also the fact that Thiago Silva was captain of PSG for 2 years as well, which could be good for Tuchel.
Yep.
So having experience and being good with the captain, good friends, I assume, as well. So
well, we saw him in action for the first time last night in the draw with Wolves. Looked like he was playing So what we saw on Twitter from like various journalists is that it was a 4 in the back when they were attacking, with Chilwell obviously as your left back, Aspilicueta as your right back. But when they were defending, Hudson-Odoi was like a very fluid right wing back, and Chilwell would turn into a left wing back. So obviously it'd mean there's more numbers going forward, and then obviously more numbers defending, which is a very common style. I mean, Conte used it, didn't he? Did Conte use it when he was here? I think it was Conte, wasn't it, that used 5 at the back?
I can't remember. I think he used 4 at the back, but Kante is basically just sat there, wasn't he? So you could say if Kante.
Yeah.
It's up to you, Kante, but yeah, I feel like I said, it just all depends because he's got so many good forwards. Chelsea. He can still get more in if he wants to as well, because still January transfer window to spend if he wants to spend money on it still as well. So, but I think realistically, what all he'll do is he'll play 4-3-3. That's what he likes to do the most. In flat formations, when you look at it, it'll be 4-3-3. But then in games, it'll just move around all the time. The players will float around. Like for example, hudson-odoi might move to the left or something, and the players might switch around. But everyone will know their roles basically. So that's what he likes to do. He likes to have players that know their role. So this is why I'm surprised if Giroud starts more often, because he's experienced up top. So that's just my point of view anyway. So yeah, I think Havertz, I think he will start to perform better now. Personally, I don't know why he's not performed under Lampard. It didn't make much sense to me. I know Mount's having a great season.
What about Mason Mount? Because obviously he didn't play yesterday, and someone said that Tuchel's big one for rotation. So maybe it's just because Mason Mount has played a lot of games.
Possibly. We'll have to find out in the next game if he puts him in the squad.
Yeah, true.
This big giant meme of Lampard and
a lot of the new signings were in. Werner was the only one from the summer that wasn't in. You know, Ziyech was in, Havertz was in, Thiago Silva was in, Chilwell was in, Mendy was in. Pulisic came on and he was expected to start apparently, but he took a slight knock, so we didn't want to risk him. It'd be interesting to see how he does there. As I said earlier in the video, he's a manager I think that is under the radar a bit, but I still do think he'll need time to kind of implement his style. Will Chelsea be willing to give him that time? I think it's just kind of, I have to wait and see. But as you say, it takes 2 results to swing this league at the moment back in Chelsea's favour. You know, look, they as much as a draw wasn't an incredible result, they gained a point on Man United. First of all, they're going to gain, if not earn the same points as Tottenham and Liverpool when they play tonight. So points from like all around the league are being dropped are more important than in previous seasons, because there's no big gaps between teams. There's a point gap between the league leaders that could potentially be 4, but even that, you think that is just going to stay very tight towards the end of the season. The top 4 is separated by next to nothing up until about 9th place. Arsenal are right back in it at the moment in time, the way they're playing in terms of a top 4 race. So
I mean, West Ham have paid.
It's going to be interesting. And West Ham are they 4th now? Are they still 4th?
Well, as we speak, they're currently 4th, before this Liverpool Spurs game. So we'll have to see. I mean, like we said in the day, but I said in previous episodes as well, all it takes is 2 games and you can fly the table.
Absolutely.
It's kind of what it is. You're not going to see anyone 100 points. I don't think someone will get more than 85 points this season.
No chance. I mean, it's impossible for any team to get 100 points now. But it's I think the max is like early 90s, and there's no way City and United and I think it's Leicester who can still get it are going to pick up maximum points. Impossible. But yeah, let me know what you think about Tuchel in the comments. Is he going to be given enough time to implement his style at Chelsea? Is he a good enough manager for Chelsea in the starters? And who are his main men going to be? Is he going to get Werner and Havertz firing, or is he going to rely on the likes of Giroud like he did last night? It would be interesting to see how Hudson-Odoi goes, because he's a quality player. Can he fight his way into kind of England contention? Maybe. I think he's been one of the shining lights for Chelsea so far this season, Hudson-Odoi. Yeah, let us know what you think in the comments. Make sure you follow us on all the socials, link below as always. Yeah, make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.